as far as I'm concerned, there is zero to nothing hospitality in Uganda. Yes, I said it. Quote me. I thought because Kenya and Uganda are close, like, geographically, they're supposed to have some one or two, how do I put it, characteristics that are similar. But I was wrong. Everyone has a gun in Uganda. Hey guys, guess who is back from Uganda? I am. Yeah, so it's been amazing spending 2 months in Uganda, and I'm ready to tell you guys all about my experience from the good times to the terrible times. And of course, I couldn't live without getting some souvenirs with me. That's why you see me in this and that. That is a Gomez outfit, mostly worn in Uganda. But I couldn't get that, but I got this. So let's talk about life in Uganda. So first of all, guys, I'd like to apologize for not posting much. I've been away in Uganda, and that has slowed down my content creation process because I didn't go with my tripod, and it was really stressful getting a tripod in Uganda. I didn't think it should be that stressful, but yeah, I couldn't get one, and yeah, so I couldn't create a lot of content. Plus, I wanted to experience the place a little bit more before I talk about it, so that I have, enough experience. And people are not like, oh, you've been there for 2 days and then you're saying what? So I was there for 2 months, and now I'm ready to share. So in one of my previous video where I was talking about one of my previous videos where I was reviewing an Airbnb in Uganda, a commenter said that, I've only been to 2 countries, and I'm talking about this, I'm talking about that. Well, the fact that I've been to 2 countries, which of course I've been to more than that, even if a person has been to 1 or 2 countries, it doesn't make their opinion, their experiences, or their, choices invalid, right? Because I experienced this firsthand. It was my experience. So you can't talk down at me because, I experienced something bad and I'm talking about it. Like, I don't understand. How does that even work? Anyway, today let's talk about everything. I'm going to share my experience, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it, and the culture shocks that I've experienced in Uganda. So first of all, let's start with the food. Because food is important, food is life. Yeah, so food. So in one of my previous videos about my stay at an Airbnb in Kampala, where I made, some complaints about the service and everything, a commenter came under the comment section. I was like, oh, you've been to only 2 countries and you have a lot of complaints about Airbnb, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I've been to more countries than 2. But even if I've been to 2 countries, the fact that you've been to more countries than I have doesn't make my choices, my opinions, or my experiences invalid. Don't do that to people. Don't try to make people's experiences invalid because you've traveled more than they have. That is crap. Don't do that. So today, let's talk about everything. I'm going to talk about my experiences, my, some culture shocks that I experienced, and the good, the bad, the ugly. And feel free to come for me in the comment section because, yeah, this is my channel. I'm going to talk about all of my experiences, good, bad, ugly. So if you're not okay with it, please feel free to drop your comments respectfully. Thank you. So let's start with the first one, which is food, because food is life. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I thought I was suffering because of food in Kenya, but when I got to Uganda, I'm like, where is the food? Because there are very limited food options for you to choose from, and the food doesn't really look appetizing to me. It doesn't look, because for me, I eat with my eyes first. I need to set the food, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to eat this food. But when the food is looking all mashed up, it's looking off, I'm like, okay. So the other time I went to buy matoke, and the lady just jumbled up different things for me. There's rice, there's matoke, there's chapati, there's this, and I'm like, well, I didn't enjoy it. The food in Uganda is really not my style. I mean, it doesn't mean that it's not good. It's just not my style. The only food I enjoyed is the Rolex, which is not even food. I mean, it's not main dish, but yeah, I enjoyed the Rolex a lot and I ate it a lot. Yeah. Now, the biggest issue is even when I cook, I can't get things to cook, to use in cooking. For instance, when I want to cook vegetable, all you get is vegetables with the meat. There's no crayfish, there is no palm oil, there is no cow skin. Ah, there's nothing. So you just cook the food bland like that, and it's really. And then you get onions, and I mean that's just it. Now the biggest issue is even when I want to cook, for instance, I want to cook vegetable, I really can't get anything else to cook the vegetable with. I can't get crayfish, I can't get cow skin, no palm oil. It's just there. At least in Nairobi, I could get to buy some of these things at the Nigerian food restaurant where I can buy them and then come home to cook them. But I couldn't get all these things in Uganda. I searched and searched for Nigerian restaurants. Like it was just so difficult. I finally got a place to eat. I finally got two places where they're like Nigerian restaurants, and when I got there, it was trash. I'm going to talk about that later. But yeah, another issue I had with the food is that you can eat out without chewing stone. Like, what is going on? Hygiene is very, very important for me. That's why I rarely eat out, except it's top-notch restaurants. I rarely eat out. I would rather cook my own food because sometimes when I just think about the cooking process, like how did they wash this thing? How did they? I'm already losing, my appetite. So I'd rather just cook myself. So you eat out and then it's like you're chewing stone, you're chewing sand. Like what is it? So you have to like just swallow your food. And I think Ugandans swallow their food a lot. Like most people swallow their food, they don't chew on the food. But me, I chew on my food. So it was really terrible because I had to be chewing. It's like when you're trying to walk, you're walking in the field and you're like, let me not step on a bomb. I was just what? But anyway, yeah, that was my experience with the food, and it was terrible. It was really terrible. There wasn't. I think it was just about two places that I ate that I didn't chew stone, and that's two nice restaurants in the nice part of town. And I mean, for like my anniversary with my babe, and the other time we just wanted to chill out, and that was it. But every other time we ate at normal restaurants around, it was stone, sand, anything you can find inside. So it was terrible. The food was terrible for me. I think moving on, let's talk about the people. Yes, people, because there are people everywhere. Talking about people in Uganda, I think people in Uganda are really like relaxed and chilled, really vibey kind of. But people are a lot, yeah. So be careful when you meet someone. They lie to your face, and even when you catch them in the lie, it's like, so I mean, it's normal. So I think people are chilled, but you just can't really trust anybody just like that at the first, the first go. So yeah, I tried to buy a tripod. Now let me tell you the tripod story. Now I tried to buy a tripod twice. There's this site where you can buy anything. I buy anything in Ghana. I could just go there, type what I want, the location, and then I see a vendor and I call and they bring the stuff. But I tried it in Uganda and wow. When they brought the tripod, it was very short. I mean, like very, very short. You can only use that kind of tripod if you put it on the table or you sit on the floor. You don't, not even when you sit, when you lie on the floor, because it is that short. And then when they snap the pictures and put it on the site, it is very tall. You'll be like, oh, this tripod, okay, it should be, my height, so it should be good enough. It's a lie. So the first vendor did it. I'm like, okay, this is not what I want, take it back. I paid for the rider and I told him to take it. So the second one came and I'm like, what is happening here? So I called the guy and was like, guy, this tripod I saw online was tall. This one the rider brought is short, like really short, like except I'm a dwarf and I sit on the floor. That's when I can use this tripod. Like, why? He said, that's how it is. I'm like, no, you don't do that. See, different people need different things. You have long tripods, you have short tripods. Now, if I want a short tripod, I go for that. If I want a long one, I go for that. It does not mean that you deceive me and snap a picture as if it's long, and then this guy was like, oh, please, what am I even talking about? And I'm like, wow, it's not nice, because now I've had to pay for riders twice without actually getting the tripod. That's why I stopped. That's why my content creation process was slow. I didn't upload when I was in Uganda. I think I uploaded like twice the whole time I was in Uganda. Imagine 2 months. So because I couldn't, So yeah, that was how that went. So this is not to say that everybody in Uganda, lies, but you find most people doing that. And when people talk a lot, be careful. They've told you like 10 lies and one truth. So yeah, this is not to say that all Ugandans lie, but there's a huge dishonesty issue here. And that is why throughout my stay in Uganda, I never bought something from the same vendor twice. If I buy from you, I note the price, and then next time I want to buy, I go to another vendor. I see the difference, like, okay, have you cheated me? Is this person better? And that's how that's how I was all through my stay. So this is not to say all Ugandans lie, but there's a huge dishonesty issue in Uganda. And yeah, you just have to be careful. People lie to your face and they keep a straight face, like, yeah, I am serious, I'm not lying. Be careful. For instance, when I went to buy the matoke in the market, and the lady told me, "Oh, this is how we eat the matoke. This is it, blah blah blah." And then I uploaded the video, and a viewer told me that no, that's not how matoke is, and that's not how it's eaten. And I'm like, "Oh wow!" So I've been lied to. She just wanted to make sales. And really, these are some of the things that you experience when you travel a lot. You meet different people, different characters, and sometimes you get cheated, sometimes you get lied to. It's normal, but I don't really see the point though, because this person is passing by, right? And the way you treat them is the way they remember you, the way they remember your country, the way they remember your people as a whole. Like people will say, "Oh, Nigerians are this, Nigerians are that." Most people have not really experienced it firsthand, but because one person in maybe that family or that community has met a Nigerian that treated him or her badly, and then they take that story back home, and that becomes the picture that they get of Nigerians. So like I'm always careful when I go out as a Nigerian or as a Yoruba person or something, because you're not just representing you, you're representing your clan, you're representing your country, you're representing your continent. So when you go out and that person, somebody's like, "Oh, that's an African, the whole of Africa." So let's be careful how we treat people just because of small cash here and there that want to dupe them off. It's not nice. But let's move away from that, because I think I'm getting emotional and I'm getting all too into that. So moving on, let's talk about the mode of transportation in Uganda. The most popular mode of transportation in Uganda is motorcycles. So you see these motorcycles everywhere like ants, just everywhere. You can't move without one trying to knock you down. Like, what is going on? Even at the traffic lights, they don't stop. Even when they stop, there are like a lot of them. The moment the light turns green, just make sure that you're not you're not anywhere in there, because they are going to knock you down. So the only way I enjoyed transportation in Kampala was at the last minute, where I downloaded the Safe Border app. I even wonder why I didn't download the app from the beginning, because a friend told me about it. So I downloaded the app and I used it a couple of times, and it was nice because the drivers are very careful, they are polite and all of that. So yeah, I enjoyed that app. But Uganda is kind of still way underdeveloped, in my opinion. The roads are bad, the roads are terrible. I was in Bugolobi, where it's supposed to be the big main area, but the roads are very bad. There are still muddy houses in Kampala. What's the name of that place? I've forgotten the name, but it's not really far from Bugolobi. There are muddy houses there. Yeah. So I'm like, is this the city? Is this the city, like the the capital city? Yeah, imagine asking a young lady, when I went to make the last time I went to braid my hair, there was this young lady braiding my hair. She's old enough to be married, so she's not a small girl. I was asking her about Bolt, about Uber. I even asked her about tripod, and she was just looking at me like, what are you talking about? So I'm like, I need a tripod, and I have tried, but the vendors are always bringing something else. Where can I get a tripod? She's like, what is a tripod? I'm like, I don't even know how to explain it, because how do you not know what a tripod is? So I told her that, okay, it's something that you put on the ground and then you put your phone on it so that you can make your videos. And she was like, no, she has no idea. Okay. So I asked her that, okay, I need an Uber. When I finish my hair, I need an Uber. Can the Uber come to this place to pick me up? She's like, she doesn't even know what I'm talking about. Wow. It was amazing. It was amazing. So I don't know if it's the English bit or just general. I don't know. But yeah, she didn't know what any of those things mean, and it was amazing to me. And she lives in the capital city, not in the village. So I wonder how the villages are like. But yeah, moving away from that again. Let's talk about Uber and Bolt in Kampala. Whew. This bit I'm going to need what do I need now to cool me down, because gosh, it was frustrating. So the Uber and Bolt culture in Kampala will frustrate you. If you're coming to Kampala for the first time, see, just download the Safe Boat app. Is it safe? Is it Safe Boat app? Safe Border app, yes. Safe Border app, you get a motorcycle, you're on your way. Because now, for instance, the first few times I tried to go out in Kampala, I would, normally now you dress up, you're ready to go out, you just call a ride. In 2 minutes, the ride is there, they pick you up and you go. In Kampala, is different. Now you call it Bolt or Uber, and let's even talk about Bolt. I think it's even still a bit better on Uber, because you, out of 10 riders that you call, you will get maybe one that will talk about this nonsense I'm about to talk about. But you see the Bolt, they're the worst of the worst. If you call 50 riders, you get only one that will not do this. So you would call a ride, and then on the app you're seeing 10,000, let's say 10,000 Ugandan shillings, for instance, and your budget is maybe 10,000, or you have 12,000. You're like, oh, thank God it's 10,000. Then the rider comes, and then, or the rider keeps calling you, and I'm wondering, why is this guy calling me? Just come to the damn place and pick me up. They'll call you, you pick the call, and they're like, oh, where are you going to? This and that. Can you pay 30,000? And I'm like, sorry, excuse me. The first time it happened, I was really in shock. Like, what is this guy talking about? The app says it is 10,000. Why are you telling me to pay 30,000? But apparently, that's the culture in Uganda, in Kampala. If you can't do that, they would end the ride. They'll tell you to end the ride or end it themselves, and you'll be there. So I tried a couple of times, and it was the same. That day, we spent over 1 hour looking for a ride to take us to where we're going. Just imagine you have an appointment, like you're already late, just forget it. So anyways, that is the culture in Kampala. One of the riders told us that, oh, it's that way because the government doesn't help them when it comes to that boat thing. I'm going to try to explain it because it really doesn't make sense to me, but this is what he said. That the government doesn't help them. The price has been the same on the boat app for, did they say 3 to 4 years? The price has been the same. So what they do is increase the price on their end so that they get their profits. And I'm like, it still doesn't make sense, because it's either you are on the app, because the app calculates what you're supposed to get, right? It calculates your profit, your expenses, and everything. So what do you mean by the price has been the same? And if that is the case, then just be a roadside driver. Don't stress us with this, your pricing, taking it up and down, up and down. But anyway, that's how it is in Kampala, and you can either go with them or forget it. They don't care. So yeah. So let's talk about language. The most spoken language in Uganda is Luganda. And I've heard that it's similar to Kiswahili, but if I could even speak a bit of Kiswahili, it would have been, good for me, but I couldn't. But anyway, the most spoken language is Luganda. And but on paper, the national language of Uganda is Kiswahili. And I was told that it's that way because Luganda is a language of a small group of people. Let's say, for instance, there are different tribes in Uganda. So one tribe speaks Luganda, and somehow that language has taken over. Everybody speaks it, but they can't make it the official national language, because it's going to cause a tribal war, because different tribes are going to be like, no, you can't make it like that. What about our language? What about, yeah. But I understand, because of course, in Nigeria, for instance, we a lot of people speak English, but a lot of people, especially in Lagos, a lot of people, even the Igbos, the Hausa, they understand and speak Yoruba. But we can't make it the national language because it's going to cause a tribal war, of course, because the Igbos are going to be like, no, our language is going to be the national language. The Hausas are going to be like, no, our language is going to... So let's just keep it at English, and then everybody can speak what they want. So yeah, that is how the language goes. And is it difficult? I could pick up one or two words, but that's just it. And Lynn was teaching me some words in Uganda, but I really I think it's difficult. Language is not my strong suit, so yeah, I'm just gonna leave that one out and move on. Oh, so to get a SIM in Uganda, you need to register with your passport, and you can only get one SIM a day. So, for instance, you want to buy a SIM for your phone and you want to buy a SIM for your Wi Fi, you can't do that. You have to buy one SIM today and go back tomorrow to buy another SIM. You're only entitled to one SIM a day. And then when you're doing the whole registration process, you have to take some pictures, they'll set everything up for you, your mobile money, blah, blah, blah. And I think yeah, that's all about SIM cards. And there is MTN, there is Airtel. I bought MTN, yeah, but oh god, the internet in Kampala is really terrible. I had a really tough time with the internet. Some days it's on, some days it's off. Some days I have to go out with my laptop to different places, to restaurants, hotels, to look for good internet to do my work. It was that terrible. And some days it was like repeatedly. And the place where we were staying, there is Wi-Fi. They even bought a separate Wi-Fi for our floor. So like it was just too bad. It wasn't working. But anyway, yeah. So one culture shock for me is the fact that Facebook has been banned in Uganda. So you can't officially use Facebook in Uganda because you're not allowed to. So for days when we got there, I kept trying, I kept reloading. I thought it was the network. But we were in a good hotel and the network was good. So I'm like, what's going on? So I kept refreshing and refreshing. So finally we asked somebody like, what's going on the internet? They said it's not the internet. Like Facebook has been banned in Uganda. You're not allowed to use Facebook in Uganda. So like, okay. So you have to download a VPN to connect your Facebook and be able to use it. So I wasn't, where was I the whole time? I think I was in Switzerland. The whole time I was in Uganda because I needed to use like Facebook. Facebook is very essential for me in my content marketing work because I need to schedule posts for my clients via Facebook schedule app. So it was difficult, but the moment we got to realize, oh, you just need to download VPN. Oh, I'm like, okay, cool. So we downloaded VPN and then we were good. So we started using, Facebook and doing what we have to do. And then some functions on Instagram also doesn't work. For instance, you can't upload a video with using, the music on Instagram because you keep searching, you search for the music, it keeps loading, it never completely loads. And I'm like, what's happening? Then it's also part of the whole thing. So when I started using the VPN, it was fine, and I could upload my videos and use the music on the app. Yeah. So in Uganda, bribery is not really a big deal. So you can get away with anything. So for instance, you can, you want to drive or you want to have a driver's license, but you can't drive. Just go to the office where they issued the driver's license and tell them, I can't drive, but I want a driver's license. What do I do? How much do I pay? And then you pay, you get your license, and you be on your way. Yeah. So in Uganda, I think that's why it was kind of a bit relaxed because when you get into stuff, you can easily like get out of them once you have the money to, pay your way out and you're on your way. So let's talk about security in Uganda. So I haven't really had any bad experience when it comes to moving around in Uganda. But a lot of people have said, oh, be careful, don't work at night because once it's late, this, that. But yeah, haven't really had like first-hand experience with security in Uganda. But it's better to be safe than sorry. And I was told that it's best to also use the Uber app when you're moving at night instead of the Bolt app because the Uber has more security measures in place and all of that. So everyone has a gun in Uganda. Hold on before you get scared. I mean, every security guard has a gun in Uganda. Security guards for banks, for schools, for even crash, they have guns. And you just see people walking around with guns and you're like, oh my God, what's happening? Are we safe? But yeah, every security guard has a gun in Uganda. And I'm even wondering why the security guards in our apartments didn't have guns. Hmm. But anyways, maybe I should have asked why they don't. But yeah, every security guard has a gun. No matter how small the establishment is, they can put a security guard there and give him a real gun. Hey, moving on. Look, talking about, okay, let's talk about job opportunities in Uganda because I got a couple of DMs. People are like, "Oh, I also want to come to Uganda. I did job opportunities there." I didn't really see any job opportunity in Uganda, to be honest. The only thing is I saw a lot of loopholes where there are things needed that are not there, and when you go there, you can do business and you get your money. For instance, the Nigerian food thing, God, if I so yeah, like the Nigerian food thing, you can actually do that business in Uganda, and you'd see other Nigerians also struggling to get food to buy, is so that the food stuff, the food items, and they can prepare themselves or the actual food. Because I was at two restaurants and what they gave me was absolutely nonsense. The first one I asked for fufu, they gave me brown whatever. They said, "Oh, that is white. I shouldn't." And I'm like, this thing in front of me is brown, and you're telling me it's white. Really? That's about that light thing I told you, right? And then the chef came. I was like, "Oh, that's how it is. That's how Nigerian fufu is." And I'm like, "Huh? 30 years of my life, I know what Nigerian fufu looks like. Guy, it's white, plain white. So this brown thing in front of me, you're telling me that is how Nigerian fufu is. Is it that I am not a real Nigerian, or I don't know what Nigerian fufu is?" I was really confused that night. I was really like, are these people kidding me? I was kind of like almost upset. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, yeah, there's that for that. And the second restaurant I went to, those ones, in fact, I think we should just stop on this food issue. I know you guys will be like, "Oh, I talk about food a lot." It's because food is important. Like, and then you can imagine when you've not eaten, you know, correct food for days, and you're like, "Oh, finally, I'm going to a Nigerian restaurant. I'm going to eat." Or finally, you're going to a Kenyan restaurant, and you've been in the UK all this while, or you've been in Nigeria all this while. You didn't see Nigerian Kenyan food, and then finally you've heard of one restaurant. They're like, "Oh, you get correct chapati there, or you get correct pilau there," and you get there and they're giving you plain rice and they're telling you that that is pilau. Of course you get upset because your hopes are already up, like, "Oh my god, I'm going to eat Kenyan food today, I'm going to feel good." And then you get there and they're trying to convince you that the pilau that you knew is not the real pilau, that is Kenyan pilau. What are these people saying? But anyway, that's that about like Uganda and yeah, whatever. Let's move on to hospitality. Hmm. Oof. I thought because Kenya and Uganda are close, like, geographically, they're supposed to have some one or two, how do I put it, characteristics that are similar. But I was wrong. In Kenya, the hospitality is so good that if you are dissatisfied about something, the whoever has made the mistake will try to make it up to you and try to make you feel good and try to correct that. But in Uganda, there is, as far as I'm concerned, there is zero to nothing hospitality in Uganda. Yes, I said it. Quote me. So Uganda is poor when it comes to hospitality and customer service. For instance, I went to a big supermarket, Carrefour, to buy at where was that again? The Village Mall, yeah. To buy some, items and whatnot. And when I got to the counter where I was supposed to pay, they were supposed to count and do their whatever, and I paid. This lady finished making telling me the amount, and the stuff was still like on the table. She asked me if I wanted a bag. I said yes. But the stuff was still like on the counter there, and I'm like, okay, who is going to pack this? And she was just looking at me like, pack your stuff and go. Because she was already pushing my things aside and bringing the next person's, making the next person's bill. And I'm like, wow. So I just started packing my things because, like, before they pour it on the floor, before they throw the stuff on the floor. So I started packing my things, and yeah, but in Kenya, there are two, what's it called now? There are two attendants. The first person is there to count the items and give you your bill, and the next person is there to pack your stuff. Even in Busia, in the village, that's how it was. I went to the supermarket countless times. But being in Kampala, in the city, and somebody, just throws a bag at you, like, pack your things and go. It was, I felt like, what's going on here? Where am I? Where am I? So it wasn't really, yeah, so the hospitality and customer service. Yeah. Another instance is when I went to a so-called Nigerian restaurant, and it was at night. We went there that day. We had finished, they were like, oh, let's go and eat something, Nigerian food. And we got there, and there was no light, first of all. They were using a rechargeable lamp. And that lamp, other people had to switch on their phone lights so that the place is brightened up a bit. And we ordered for food. I think it's that same restaurant I was telling you about. We ordered for food, and they brought the jollof rice they brought for my babe was not even jollof rice. It was just rice mixed in whatever, first of all. And I ordered for fufu and egusi soup. And the fufu they brought was brown. And I'm like, the fufu I want is white, not brown. I've actually not even seen brown fufu before. And they told me that, oh, that is Nigerian fufu. That is how it is. And I'm looking at them like, 30 years of my life, I don't know what Nigerian fufu looks like. Wow, that's terrible. But anyway, yeah, customer service, you don't try to, talk your way out of things or convince the person or whatever. They know what they know. Your own is to, try to appeal or appease them or whatever. Change it if you can, but don't try to make them look stupid like they don't know what they're talking about. So I remember one instance when I went to a resort in Ghana. It was 2021. Yes, it was 2021. It was my birthday that year, October. So I been like, oh, let's go on a road trip. So I called my girls, two of them, and we went on a road trip to a Pedwase Lounge, Pedwase Valley Resort. Yes, we went to Pedwase, and wow, I've been to Pedwase like a couple of times because I'm in love with that place. And when I go back to Ghana again, I will still go there. Kenya, leave my mouth. Anyway, so yeah, we went on this road trip. We got there, we had fun. I changed my outfit. I went to the pool. I took a lot of pictures, and it was looking all good. I can even show you guys some. So yeah, so we ordered for food. My friends ordered for their food, and I ordered for jollof rice and chicken with coleslaw and all. And we had bought wine, and we were, chilling and feeling ourselves. And my food came, and when I tested the chicken was bad. So apparently the chicken is from the previous night, and I think they didn't preserve it well, so it was tasting bad. So I called the waiter, and I'm like, this chicken is not for today, first of all, and even if it was for yesterday, the least you can do is warm it up or make sure it's not tasting bad. This chicken is spoiled. She was so shocked. She apologized. She collected the chicken, and she said she was going to the chef to complain about it. So she went to the chef. The next thing you know, the chef comes around and is like, he's so sorry. They didn't know that chicken was supposed to be set aside. So they probably just made a mistake and put it in my food and whatever. So he apologized. They brought another food, another fresh chicken that they've just fried, and they left. Guess what? The manager came in person to apologize. That is so sorry. That has never really happened in their resort before. It's a mistake. That chicken was for yesterday, definitely, and they were supposed to put it aside to give to some people that come around to take stuff for their dogs. So they made a mistake. They apologized. Then I'm like, it's fine. I mean, that's 3 people apologizing already. I don't want to be the bad person here. So it's fine. So they went away. We had our fun, we did our stuff, and when we were ready to go, the waiter came around, the chef came along, and they brought a pack for takeaway. And I'm like, "Ah, I didn't order for any food to go. That it's not mine." They said no, it's just they're just a way to erase the bad experience and to apologize again, because that never happens, and they are very sorry. They can see that it's my birthday, and it's like they almost ruined the day and everything. They apologized, and I went home that day forgetting the bad experience that I have had and remembering the good experience, which is the fact that they cared so much about this one client to all come out and apologize sincerely. And I mean, that was good enough for me. So I went ahead, when I go home, give my review on the platforms where I give my reviews when I go to places. I gave my reviews, and that was it. And I was good. And I've gone back there again like a couple of times. It's just on the outskirts of Accra. It's a nice place. I really like the place. Like, there's so much to see. And yeah, I mean, that's it. They made up for the bad experience, and that was it. But in Uganda, people don't really care about, like, you're not okay with something. It's like, you're not okay with it, okay, deal with it. They don't really care. So the customer service for me was really terrible. It was zero, except for a couple of places that I went to that I'm like, wow, this is amazing. For instance, Hatina Hotel, Best Western, it was good. Everything was good, from the staff to, when you step in. The first time I got there, I thought these people knew me, because they were like, "Hey, ma'am, how you doing?" But apparently they didn't know me. That's how they, greet everybody and welcome everybody. It was good to, feel like you're not just a number, you are a part, or you are a person to them. So yeah, that's that on customer service in Uganda. It was terrible. It was zero. Moving on. So yeah, that's all about the culture shocks and my experience in Uganda. And I'm going to stop here for now before Ugandans look for Kenya and start looking for me up and down in Nairobi. Anyways, the fact that Kenya and Uganda are close, they're like geographically, I thought it was going to be, similar experience. I had like high hopes, high expectations that were let down. But I mean, that's life. Sometimes it's high, sometimes it's low. So we move, and let me know if you've been to Uganda. What was the experience like? How did you feel about, all these things that I've mentioned? Let me know in the comments, chat. Until the next episode, my name is Missy. You can call me the Black Coffee, and I'm a travel, fashion, and lifestyle content creator. I'm going to be sharing more with you about, my travels and my stay in Uganda, because there's still so much more to share. So do not forget to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video. Do not forget, you create your own opportunities. And when I say you create your own opportunities, I mean, life is going to happen. Opportunities are not going to always be there, but you have to step out and create your own opportunities. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye now.